Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Hammer. Today is Tuesday, October 15th, 2024. I, of course, am with Originator Success here with the daily rate update. The only place on the web where you guys get to join me live each and every day, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Broadcasting to you on Facebook and YouTube from the Great Smoky Mountains here in Western North Carolina. Back from Charlotte, actually, where I got to watch the Panthers game over the weekend. So anyway, if you're here this morning, say good morning. If you're watching on the replay, don't forget, just give us a hashtag replay in the comments. Let me know that you were here. Let Facebook or YouTube know that you were here. Always appreciate you doing that. Whether you're here live or on the replay, don't forget to smash that like button. Maybe if you're on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe. Click the thumbs up. If you're on Facebook, tag an LO friend, share this post in a group or anything like that. If you would like to sign up and get our free email lock advice, we send that out each and every weekday morning, www.ratelockadvice.com. You can go ahead and get that to your inbox each and every weekday morning, except for yesterday because it was Indigenous Columbus Day or Columbus People's Day. I don't know. I like Indigenous Columbus Day. So anyway, I know if I don't look like I take it seriously, it's because I don't. I hope nobody's feelings are hurt. But anyway, this is if you'd like to sign up for our free lock advice, you can do that. If you want to get our text alerts, they're a whopping $7 a month. Get in before the price goes up. I don't know if the price is going to go up. I could raise the price because they're only $7, but we're good. Anyway, check them out, www.ratetextalerts.com. If you want a reminder that I'm going live in the morning, by all means, sign up for a reminder. You can use this cool QR code over here or hmmr.io/reminder. Last but not least, go check us out at originatorssuccess.com. Find out how we help you get loans from Google and social media. All right. All that said, let's go ahead and say hi to the live folks. Who do we have here this morning? If you're here this morning, make sure you say good morning. If you haven't said good morning yet, then you're not here, right? So good morning, Mr. Mark Clark. Great to have you here. Mike Tebow up there in Michigan. Mike, are you a Lions fan, my man? Lions looking fierce, although the injury to their defensive lineman does suck. And I feel for that guy because he broke his tibia and fibula, which is what I was afraid might have happened to me. And I only broke my fibula. So hopefully he didn't tear a bunch of ligaments when he did it. But to break those bones generally, it might be in a twisting of the foot. So that might be why. We'll see where he comes back. But anyway, and you think 10% more, Siegel? Inflation, $770 a month. I've got, you know what's funny is inflation. We've had price increases across the board on all of our software that we use. But anyway, Monica Dinkins, good morning. Tim Kleila, you're also a Michigan guy. Are you a Lions fan? Let me know in the comments. Curious if you are. Nicole Semerad, good morning. Megan Lindberg, Mallory Futiatis, great to have you all here. James Mahan, Kenny Rivard, Amy Blauser. Happy Tuesday. How many of you worked yesterday, by the way? Was yesterday like a normal day of business for you? I did plumbing with Austin, my son-in-law, also an Originator Success employee, I guess, account manager, sales guy. So, but Angela Walters, good morning. Harry Dennis, Colin Jordan, great to see you. Ron Siegel says today is National Shawarma Day. What is a shawarma? I'm going to have to Google that, man. I don't even know what a shawarma is. Jay Rodriguez, good morning, sir. Riza Wera, Nicole Semerad. Ron did not take off yesterday, but you did miss me. Well, thank you, sir. I appreciate you. I don't even know if my texts went out that I was ready to send a text saying I wasn't going live, and I don't even know if I sent it. Good morning, Mike Morano, Route here. Ready Real Estate Team, Jay Rodriguez, Ketchup Day. Yeah, it was a good Ketchup Day, right? Nicole Semerad, you worked. Good morning. Mallory worked a little bit, then went to the beach with the family. All right. That's awesome. Tim, long-suffering Lions fan. Nice to have a team to root for. Absolutely. Dan Campbell's done a great job coaching that team, and their general manager's done a great job bringing in talent. I wish we had someone doing that over here at the Panthers. Tom Deadmore, Brandy Brickler. Good morning, y'all. All right. So let's go ahead and jump in now that we're 5 minutes in. Let's get to the good stuff here. And we will talk about what we're talking about. So hold on. I'm pulling this up on the screen. Let me get rid of that. This is annoying, and that brings that up. Hold on. I'll get rid of that in a second. Let me pull this up first. Okay, so we start the day off with good news. Rate sheets today should be better than Friday. Quite a bit better, actually. When you take a look here, we're missing a day because Monday there was no bond market. Even though stocks were open and stocks are frothy as hell, they are hitting super highs. The Dow at 43,000. S&P also hitting record highs. That's not really something that shows fear of a economic collapse, is it? But anyway, looking at bonds on Friday, they were down here when pricing came out, down around 100.25. We're up around 100.40. That's about a 15-point improvement on the day. It's also about a 15 basis point improvement from when pricing came out on Friday. So you should see rate sheets that are quite a bit better. If we use Mortgage News Daily as a reference point here, we'll zoom in on this together, right? So ending the week last week, 6.64. This should bring us back well below that 6.62 even, but at least 6.62. And you can see we've seen pricing stabilize after jumping like crazy. So right before the Fed meeting last week, that was the 17th, we were at our best pricing in the last 30 days, and probably if think even longer than that. We were at about 6 and after the Fed meeting, really didn't move. And again, everyone was like, "Oh, locked for the Fed meeting," and they were at again 6.15, 0.17, 0.15, still 6 and an eighth. Then you could argue they kind of moved over to that 6 and a quarter-ish range. And then when we got the Fed, the jobs data rather on October 4th, that kind of beat us with a stick here, and we jumped another, quarter, 3/8, half a point even on some rate sheets up to 6 and 5/8 area. And that's where they've been kind of holding. Now, take a look at the bonds, and you can see we've got a nice sideways pattern forming here after dropping. See how we dropped? We dropped, and then it was a kind of a slow, steady drift lower here, which was not anything to panic about. I had actually been advising to float through this, thinking we'd get a rebound near this 25-day moving average. However, what really did us in was the buildup and the release of the labor market data here with these 3 red candlesticks really sent things down to the ground. Since then, we've kind of leveled off. Same thing. Take a look here at the 10-year Treasury. I'm going to move this over to 1 month, and we see that same thing, right? We're kind of like just holding steady after the Fed meeting here, just kind of hanging out around this 25-day moving average. Then since that jobs data, it's really shot up. And remember, what gave us this is the expectation here that we would not see the rate cuts that we were expecting. So the November expectations for rate cuts now, about a 90% expectation that we'll see a quarter point, 0 expectation that we'll go at a half point. There's about a 10% expectation we may not see a cut at all. That doesn't look very serious, though. Keep that in mind. This does not look like, it's kind of like the outliers, the swing bets there. Doesn't look like a big deal. Now, this was on Friday. This is 20%, which was very concerning. Let's see if the compare feature kind of reflects that. I mean, I've been watching it. So on Friday, it shows 16% here is where it ended the day. So it was actually about 20%. You can see a month ago, we were at 25, more than 25% thought we'd see a half point rate cut. So there's been a big shift. And that's, of course, why rates, when we look at rate sheets, it's why rates are higher. We see this higher because we've seen a shift in expectations over Fed rate cuts, not just in November, but in December. And of course, going into 2025, expectations now that we'll see 2 quarter points, 85% expectation. There's no expectation of larger rate cuts. There's that little outlier that we would see less than that. So keep all of that in mind. Let me see what my man, Mr. Ron Siegel, has to say. I see, Ron, you are on there sharing lots of great stuff with us today. So first thing, I guess, is what a shawarma is. Mike said, next time you're in Michigan, I'll take you out for a shawarma. That must be something for, Arabian Middle Eastern, right? Because with the Arab population in Michigan, I'm thinking that's why shawarma, and it sounds like that. Bursting with a marinade of Mediterranean herbs and spices, shawarma chicken slowly cooks on a vertical rotisserie spit. The tender meat is then thinly sliced, grilled, and added to a pita wrap with a variety of toppings. Kind of sounds like a hero. I would go with that. That sounds yummy to me. Good morning, Julie Lawrence. Mahan said Siegel's making his mouth water. I'm with you, dude. That right? It's making me hungry. Good morning, Tiana. Several business reports showing the market increases are Trump trade. His numbers are increasing. Betting markets getting stronger for him. All the Republican-based ETFs are jumping. Not political, just reporting. I agree. And if anybody gets some knickers in a twist when we talk about politics, then for the next 3 weeks, you got to pull your head out of your ass, because it's absolutely going to start to have an effect on what's going on. Maybe not directly on mortgage rates too heavy, but it is on the rest of the markets, and definitely with the froth that's going on there. So, what's funny is, they're pandering, neck and neck with trying to get votes. So the promises being made are just all something that could be inflationary. It doesn't matter which party actually gets in if they actually follow through on any of that. Siegel said, many reports this morning showing the China stimulus is not working. The inflation risk to the rest of the world is diminishing. Yeah, that's a good sign too. Definitely a good catch. I like to see that, by the way. If I look at they used to have just the 5 things to start your day. Now they've moved this over to the market daily. So they're talking about this comes out on a newsletter basis, but with from Bloomberg, and they're talking about the same thing. China's begun to overlook tax on overseas investment gains. This too, also a big deal. Oil prices. This was something. Remember, we talked about the flight to safety. I'm going to put my face up here. Hold on. All right. So, no, I want the side by side. There we go. Okay. So we had remember that there's always talk of flight to safety, right? With what was going on with Israel and Iran. And I said that we have not really seen clear flights to safety helping bonds in quite a long time. What we would also see that would offset that was their fear of oil prices going up, inflation, all of that stuff would be a big deal. Based on what's going on, it looks like things are starting to settle down over there. I'm not going to go too deep into world events, but oil prices are slumping as concerns ease about Israel attacking Iranian energy facilities. That's dragging energy stocks lower, but it's also the price of oil. I think it's gone down. If it's not here, I read it somewhere else, but it's gone down, I think, about $7 a barrel. And if I remember correctly, and that does help. That is a big deal. So anyway, it's all that same stuff there. We'll see how the elections go. Banks are making lots of bank money. That's one thing it doesn't change at all. Banks are making a lot of bank money. So keep that on there. But for this morning, we're definitely keeping an eye on this and what's going on with mortgage bonds. We want to make sure that we're seeing some stabilization. I don't think we're going to see a lot of recovery this week, y'all, but we could see at least stabilization, which, last week we ended the week just slightly worse. This week, if we end just slightly better, it would be a win. So it would be there. Ron, the promises are humor since neither of them can do most of what they promise. Most of the promises require congressional action, and Congress does nothing most of the time. I agree, and I think that's why they get away making those promises. They're gonna, but but people don't. They don't even just the hope, right? Well, if somebody's gonna save me money and it's gonna be better for me, and blah blah blah, that'll be better. And a lot of misinformation as usual when you see all this stuff. However, Harris and Trump are both talking about being on Joe Rogan's podcast. I would love that as a Rogan podcast listener. You know what I'd really love? I would love it if they could keep a civil conversation. Imagine Trump, Harris, and Rogan. Imagine doing a podcast with the two of them, and they weren't attacking each other and they were just talking. Could you imagine what that would be like? That would be so awesome. I would love that. Like, just some real. I mean, it's such a never happened kind of a thing, but wouldn't that be so cool? I think it would be. So Ron said the 25,000 first-time homebuyer giveaway would require Congress. Unless you use both houses, it won't happen. I absolutely agree. Plus, I think that would be a shit show. Just all it would do is push prices up. It's just going to increase buyer demand, which when rates drop, it's not going to help anybody. I think it's a dumb idea. Trump's promising all his money for the border agents, and again, it needs Congress. Most people forget that ad we grew up with about how a bill becomes a law. Yeah, remember the after school special thing? It is on YouTube, so go catch it out on YouTube. But anyway, my friends, we're in a full floating stance. At least cautiously floating. Anything closing in the near term, definitely keep an eye on it. We want to see what happens this week. Right now, we're looking for that recovery in bonds. Again, bringing this up, I'll show this to you real quick one more time. Let me make this full screen for you. What we're looking for here is we want to see this this toe kick come up higher. We're looking for bonds to improve a little bit. We're certainly not going to go all the way up to this red line, which is the 50-day moving average. But we are looking to see it kind of come up at least some. We want to watch this 10-year Treasury yield. We are right at the 100-day moving average. Technically, it broke above it. And when I say technically, these are the technicals. So once it breaks above it and closes and confirms that break, this now acts as resistance. We want to see it's at 4.04. This is 4.06. We want to see it break below and then spend another day below that. That would be a great sign if we see a crest to this hill here and the 10-year Treasury yield turns and starts to move lower. We're not going to see big moves lower. We're not going to return back down to the absolute low sixes that we saw here, that we saw earlier in September. Not yet. We need to see a lot more. None of that's going to happen until we get to the November data. November is going to be the big thing. So we're just trying to float and keep options open as we head towards November. We were going to very carefully watch, though, because there is room for things to worsen. We were in a lock stance for some loans at the end of last week because we were seeing signs that it was not turning around. Today after the bond market closure long weekend, stocks were open yesterday. It's a good sign. So we want to see that that's going in the right direction. And as long as we see that improving, we're going to ride this out. Remember, November 1st, we get the Friday jobs data. Then we get the election on the 5th. We're going to have the Fed meeting on the 7th. All of that before the next CPI reading the following week. I mean, there is just so much that's going to happen at the beginning of November. There's a lot of risk. You got to figure out where we want to be. So we want to kind of ride that up. Good morning, Mr. Alan Christian. Ron said I would dedicate 1 hour of my radio show to them. I'm just a little guy, but it's still ABC. Absolutely, man. It would be fun to have. So, all right, my friends. Well, thank you again for joining me. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Enjoy your Tuesday. Get out there, get some business, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, everybody, and make it a great one.